Hi and welcome. Today's learning objective is to infer and identify the information from short passages. What is infer and what is inference? Let us explore that first. Using information that is stated in a passage to draw the conclusion that is not stated is called inference. For example, if I were to say Tom was born in 1970 and at the age of 6 he started cycling, you may conclude that he started cycling in 1976. Now, how did you infer that? You looked at his year of birth, 1970. You added 6 years to it because at the age of 6 he started cycling, and you reached the point that is 1976, and that is how you were able to infer. You read in between the lines. If I were to give another example, the furry animal sat in her master's lap, purring contentedly. You might conclude that the furry animal is a cat because purring is cat purrs. Now, how do you go about reading a passage for inference? Let us explore the strategy. Refer the topic sentence that may give you an idea of the text. I have already covered what is the topic sentence in my previous reading strategy. Please go and read that. Pay special attention to the details and the facts and make a habit of trying to identify the author's main idea. Also try to think of the author's motive for writing the passage. Ask yourself questions: who, what, when, why, where, and how. These 6 WHs will definitely help you reach the inference. Then, is the author's purpose to inform, to persuade, or simply to entertain you? Look for the author's purpose. The further strategy is to interact with your text. This is the main strategy which will help you infer the idea that is being questioned or asked. You need to determine certain symbols or certain notations for yourselves. For example, underlining in a particular color, double underlines, maybe an underlining in a particular color for all the verbs, underlining in a particular color for the setting, using another color for the qualities or the adjectives used for the character. You may also have other annotations which will help you determine or classify certain pieces of information in your text. When you have read your text, it should look like something like this, with lots of annotation. And if you have finished reading and your passage looks as fresh as maybe you have not read it, then definitely you have not delved deeper into it in order to understand. A hint is to infer means to arrive at a conclusion. That means by reasoning from the evidence or using synonyms, you infer, deduce, judge, or you conclude. If you were to replace the word with infer or inference with conclude and conclusion, you would definitely understand the question better. Try replacing the word infer with conclude. I've already done one sample for you. Now let us read the paragraph carefully and respond to the question inferring concluding from the text. The passage that I have selected is from the Lexile range 1010 Lexile to 1200 Lexile. Lexile is the complexity of the text. Now let me read the passage for you. In cities throughout the country, there is a new direction in local campaign coverage. Frequently in local elections, journalists are not giving voters enough information to understand the issues and evaluate the candidates. The local news media devotes too much time to scandal and not enough time to policy. Now the question is, the paragraph best supports the statement that the local news media, option A, is not doing an adequate job when it comes to covering local campaigns, does not understand either campaign issues or politics. Option C, should learn how to cover politics by watching the national news media, has no interest in covering stories about local political events. Now let us look at the answering strategy that I have selected. It is the elimination method. Elimination method is when we tend to look at every option and go back and read the passage and eliminate one by one and narrow down our options. Option B and C are completely out because it does not show any understanding of the campaign issues and politics, and it's not about learning how to cover politics by watching national news media, which is definitely not mentioned either directly or indirectly. There is a distractor, that is option D, has no interest in covering stories about local political events. Option D may seem attractive at first, but the passage simply says that the local media does not adequately cover local politics. It doesn't discuss the reason for their neglect. Thus, we reach or narrow down the answer, that is answer A is not doing an adequate job when it comes to covering local campaign. Thank you so much.